Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from the studios of Video Sign Incorporated this morning. It's a wicked, melting, sloppy, maybe rain, maybe sleet, maybe snow morning, and I wasn't going anywhere. The sidewalks are still not clear by the studio. I went down yesterday, I almost fell on my butt walking down those sidewalks, or you have to walk on the road, which is another big mess. Yeah, I want to stay away from that. Look at this. I'm rocking my Club Z shirt this morning. Oh, yeah, big time. If you old timers remember Club Z, well, good for you. So, yeah, the temperature is going up 24 degrees. It's up over 30 right now. 68% humidity. Barometer at 2930. That was at 5:30 this morning. But yeah, I looked over at my weather station, and it's a lot nicer. And it's going to get even warmer into the mid 30s, they said. Woohoo! That is warm for us. We've been in the 20s and teens for a long time now. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I have an update on the Meteor Crater. Some interesting news that you are going to, well, I know Gary Wilkins and Mike Cushman, it probably blow their mind. And if you remember, about a month ago, I was talking about it when they're digging up in there. So stay tuned. I'll tell you what's going on. First, to my sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. You know, you look out here, everything's melting. It's a sloppy mess. This is your chance to get your car thawed. That's right. Everything's going to thaw out. Those big chunks of ice and snow that are on it, they're going by the wayside. It's time to straighten everything out and get your car to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Go check them out, see what they have to say, let them check your car out. Hey, this isn't the end of it. You know, we're getting close. Another 2 or 3 weeks, but we could get some more snow. Could be miserable again. You want to make sure you're ready with your car, because at the end of the day, you don't want to break down in this weather, especially days like today that are a sloppy, drippy mess, and everything's slippery out there. Things are starting to melt. The roads are going to be a mess. Yeah, you don't want to break down. Let me put it that way. Take it to Wild Bill's. He'll go through your car, top to bottom, front to back, make sure everything's okay, everything's running right. That suspension now might come a little bit loose because everything's thawing. So you want to make sure everything's good on your car. And Ken Hunter at Wild Bill's will take care of it. He'll make sure everything is tip-top. Go check him out today, wildbillsauto.ca on Oakwood Drive next to the Kia dealership. You can't go wrong. And while you're at wildbillsauto.ca, jump over to my YouTube channel, Paul Lemire 4973. Subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, share. Share it. The more the merrier on this channel. Come on, let's face it. We have an election coming up October 26th. We've gone through the budgets. We're still talking about the budgets and more stuff that's going to come up for the city, especially when they're spending your tax dollars. It's good for you to know where your tax dollars are going. This is the place you'll find out. It's not only me who talks about it. I get messages from people every day about things, and I tell you about them. So, yeah, you're going to find out what's going on with city council, and then you can make an informed decision as to whether you want to put them back in the chair or you want to get some new people in. That's up to you. But I'll tell you one thing, at 27% turnout, you get the best city council money can buy, not the best city council for the taxpayers of Niagara Falls. Go to my channel, follow, subscribe. Cost you nothing. It'll be well worth your while. So, the Meteor Crater update. Woohoo! Get this. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and he said the build is off. They're not going to build it now. And I go, what? And the guy said, yeah, the dig is off and the build is off. And I go, why? Well, if you remember from one of my shows 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago, I can't remember how long it's been, maybe before all the snow, but the Meteor Crater was white. There was a bunch of people in there digging around. Remember I told you about that? They were in there digging around. And when I came around the corner walking to come to the studio, I smelled an oily smell, a petroleum smell, a gasoline type of smell. I said, I smell, they're digging in there, and I smell this. and they're uprooting a bunch of roots and stumps and stuff, and they're putting them in a big truck and taking them away. So I'm sitting there going, what's this all about? This is pretty strange. Well, that oily smell was true. Apparently, according to a source, and I'm not telling you who it is, nor am I going to tell you if it's correct or not. They dug up a bunch of drums in there. They ran into a bunch of drums in the ground. Now, this doesn't surprise me if it's true. I can't say if it is or not. I haven't seen anything, and I haven't heard this from anybody else. But it wouldn't surprise me, because if you remember, Gary Wilkins and Mike Cushman have been in the studio before saying there's contaminants buried in there. When they cleaned it up, they never went down deep enough. And we questioned them about that at the actual planning meeting at the Gale Center back in January. We questioned them about contamination, and they said it's cleaned up. And somebody there said, no, it's not. And they said, well, that's your opinion. And I mean, it's true. That was the person's opinion who said that. And it wasn't Gary or Mike. So it was left at that, because they say it's cleaned up. Other people say it's not. Now I get that oily smell coming around the corner. And now I hear this, that they put it off because they have to clean that up. So it's pretty strange that you had Gary and Mike saying that it's contaminated and they didn't clean it up right. They have videos proving there's still tar pitch that seeps from the sides adjacent to Park Street. You did get that oily smell once in a while, but then when they were digging, I come around the corner, I smelled it. And now, a month later, somebody tells me that they dug up drums in there. So, hey, I don't know if it's true. Mike and Gary, I don't know if you've ever heard this before. If you're hearing it for the first time, it's breaking news on Your City, Your Voice. But check it out, and we'll see what happens. Now, they said they're going to start building in March. The truth will come out in March, because if they don't start digging like they said they were, then we'll know something's up. But this is what I heard. I can't confirm it. I haven't seen it. Somebody told me this, and I'm just passing it on to you guys. Do what you like with it, but there you go. Interesting stuff. So how about this one? I'm opening the review online this morning, and I look and I see, oh, look at this. Clark Burnett, the mastermind behind one of the biggest wastes of money this city has ever seen, the $17 million exchange, is leaving his job as manager of Niagara Falls History Museum. That's right. He built it. It's a white elephant. It's a flop. And now he's just blowing town. He's gone. He's going to Fort Erie. How about that? Are you kidding me? Oh, kill taxpayer dollars, 17 million of them. He has 17 million reasons to stay to make this a success, because it's a flop right now, losing millions of dollars. After the dismal failure of the exchange, the guy takes off 17 million taxpayer dollars to build it. He's gone, and now somebody else is going to have to take over. Well, maybe somebody will make this into a moneymaker. I mean, but you know what? It always seems that it's like a snowball coming down the hill. Here comes this snowball, and you're just staying ahead of it. 3 years overdue, $5 million over budget. Here's this snowball coming down the hill, and you keep ahead of it. Oh, it finally got built. Everybody's happy. Oh, let's start doing stuff with it. Oh, the market. Hey, we're getting out of here. This thing sucks. They go back to the McBain Center where they can make money. Then you got the cafe that was in there. They said, this thing sucks. We're getting out of here. They got the hell out. So all of a sudden, this snowball's getting closer. And just when it's going to roll you over, you're gone to another place in another time. How about that? So it's time, I think, that the city council looks at this place, figures out it's a money pit for the taxpayers, and says, listen, we have to come up with something. I told them what to do with it, the medical exchange, and turn it into a medical exchange. Just put one more word on the sign and lease it out to doctors. Even better, take John Ringo Beam's idea, have the city hire doctors, put them in there in a turnkey operation. We get the money, they get a salary, and away we go. And we can attract doctors without having to put up $100,000 a shot. We make it work as a turnkey business for them. They come in right out of school. They don't have to do anything, don't have to run a business, sign up for 5 years, and go there and do doctoring, what you're trained to do and what you're best at. We'll take care of the rest. Niagara Falls will take care of the rest. So it's time. It's time City Council looks at this and says, okay, this guy's gone. Let's figure out what to do with this. And there you go. That's what happens. That big snowball's going to run over you. You dodge to the left and you're gone. Not to be seen again. And $17 million plus, I don't know how many millions we spent keeping it up. I mean, the revenue that they generated didn't even cover salaries and wages there, never mind expenses. So it's been a flop since day one. How about that? Okay, over to viewer comments. And if you want to comment on the exchange, or you want to comment on what the heck else was I talking about, the meteor crater, all you have to do is just go to the comments on the video after I get it on board, be on YouTube around 1, and away we go. Okay, viewer comments. Alicia-17E6N. Oh God, come on. I know he's your friend, but listening to him is nauseating. TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Like, seriously, please do the show yourself or with another guest. Oh, that's a critique of Dave Wheeler. That's who she's talking about. Davey boy who got into the show after I finished it yesterday. He forgot the time it started. But, well, Alicia-17E6N or L7E6N, whatever it is. Guess what? You got your wish. Dave wasn't in it. It was just me. And then at Dave Wheeler, 1158, it's the Rubio crime family. Is it? Okay, he's going to expand on this. I don't know the Rubio crime family. I know the Biden crime family and the Hilton or Clinton crime family. I don't know the Rubio crime family. Worse than the Biden or Trump crime family. Note, crime is the keyword associated with prominent politicians. You have to be a crook or associated with crooks to become a successful politician. It's a bipartisan phenomenon. Okay, so we're talking about Marco Rubio being Cuban, and when he was 12, he said he was going to go back to Cuba and and free the country and that kind of thing. I guess that's what he's talking about. Now he's saying it's the Rubio crime family. Now, he did comment about Marco Rubio's brother-in-law having to do with drugs and stuff. And my thing was, well, you're going to paint Marco Rubio with the sins of his brother-in-law? What that has to do with anything, I don't know. But apparently, this is a big deal, and he's calling it now the Rubio crime family. Okay, well, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think so, but thanks for the comment. It sounds more like TDS to me. Now it's RDS, and that isn't the French channel that broadcasts the Montreal Canadiens game. RDS is Rubio. What do they call that? Derangement syndrome, Rubio derangement syndrome, and you have JD Vance derangement syndrome too. At 881 Slick Wheels, Monday morning you were on for 57 minutes about Trump and your TDS. I said that morning that if you could go on about him, I would gladly take you both for lunch. Rambling is not one of your strong points. Ha ha ha. Boy, oh boy, Dave Wheeler's getting the comments here. He's getting dissed. At the Iceman 69, not one person will question except Lori. Numbers are all wrong. Creative accounting and wrong time. So we're talking about, I think he's talking about the Niagara Regional Broadband and sale. I think that's what he's talking about. And when I went first when I first went through those numbers, they all seem wrong to me. Not what I got from Niagara-on-the-Lake, although since that time, some numbers have changed, which makes it more logical that we got $37 million. That's what he's talking about. 22 up front and 15 million deferred. And Niagara-on-the-Lake got a bunch of money. I don't know what they got, but a bunch was deferred as well. Their take was around 13 million. You take 50 million, take their 25%, and you come up with 37 million. So it kind of makes sense. The numbers kind of work. So I think Lori will probably question that. She may question that tonight at City Council when the Niagara Regional Broadband discussion comes up. Okay, Dave Wheeler, 1158. Hydromorphs are an upgraded oxycodone. They are great for pain when used properly. Sadly, they are a popular recreation drug as well. And I was talking about that hydromorphone. These people were arrested with a bunch of drugs, fentanyl and hydromorphone, and I had never heard about that before. So I found out it was more potent than morphine and blah, blah, blah. And so Dave's just expanding on that. Thanks, Dave. Hydromorphins are an upgraded oxycodone. They're great for pain when used properly. Sadly, they're a popular recreation drug as well. And that's what he was talking about in the article, where those people were arrested with money and pills and everything else that I was talking about on Friday's show. At Clear the Benches. Hey, a new commenter, Clear the Benches. Nice shirt. And on Friday, I was wearing my shirt that said Stazit. And that's come was a nice shirt. And I go, yeah, it was a nice shirt. I like that shirt. It's one of my favorites. So there you go. People notice. Like they're going to notice Club Z. Yeah, old timers will know what that is. At 881 Slick, geez, been waiting patiently. Be safe out there, my friends. So a lot of times I go into the studio. 99% of the times I go into the studio. But when I think it's going to be bad out, or it's going to be miserable out, or goofy out, I don't go into the studio. And that's maybe for 1 month of the year when we have inclement weather, and I don't go in there. So, of course, Gary listens live on 4680q.com at noon. I usually do the show live on 4680q and get in here and get in the studio and videotape the show so you can watch it later for those that can't listen at noon. And I guess he was waiting patiently. He didn't know I was doing it from the studios of Video Sign Incorporated. And he said, stay safe out there. He knows if I don't go in, it's because I don't like the weather out there. Okay, Board of Council notes now. Let's see, where are we at here? Okay, we got lots done. It's 20 after. Item 8.4, the world's largest teapot. We talked about that. It's sponsoring a cannabis company. And the question is, and I asked this to Dave Wheeler, they brought it up on their show. You know, Dave Wheeler does a show in the morning, Talking Niagara. They get on at 7 in the morning and talk about stuff all over the world, but you know, a lot of Niagara too. But I wanted to ask him yesterday in the studio. He never made it. I wanted to ask him about this cannabis teapot thing that they're having. And although cannabis is legal and everything else, should council be supporting this? And I asked them, you know, regardless of the legality of cannabis now and everything else, should council be sponsoring, you know, drugs or booze or vaping or anything else that has to do with things minors shouldn't be doing? And things that are banned in normal advertising as well. I mean, you can't put a cigarette advertising on billboards. You can't put booze advertising on billboards. It's a very touchy thing, you know. And should city council be okaying this project? I don't think they should. Not that I have anything against weed. Smoke all the weed you want. I couldn't care less. It's not my choice of, well, actually, I don't do anything anymore. I don't drink barely, and I never did smoke weed. But I think they should say no just on the grounds that they're city council and they're supposed to be putting a responsible message out there, not supporting anything to do with iced tea that's infused with cannabis. Much unlike Mike's Hard Lemonade or anything else, they shouldn't be promoting that stuff or encouraging it. City council has to address moral matters. I don't think it's a great idea to support it. But I'll read you one thing here. The city, Niagara Falls, naming and sponsorship policy is the city will not solicit or accept sponsorships or naming rights from companies whose main business is derived from a few things, but the one of them is the sale of tobacco, cannabis, or vaping products. This is definitely to market their product, which is iced tea infused with cannabis. I would say they should say no. We'll see tonight when they get to item 8.4 what they're going to do. Item 8.6, park commissions, taxes in lieu. And I talked about this on Friday, and they pay 1.3 million to the city in lieu of paying property taxes and that. And to me, this is very, very low. And if you work it out to the amount of tourists that come into the city every year, the number of cars that are rolling on our pavement, people walking on our sidewalks, just the wear and tear on our infrastructure, that works out to like 35.7 cents a car. And the way I figured it out is they say we get 14 million visitors, 4 people to a car, 3.5 million cars. Divide that into the 1.3 million, you get 37.5 cents a car. Their donation to the city. It seems like a lot, but it's not. And if they had to pay taxes on property in lieu of that, then you would be seeing a whole different number there. It would be huge. So I think this is a little low. Jody Burdett handed in a comments on this project here on this number 8.6, and he went through a bunch of different things the city should be doing to get what's fair from the Parks Commission. It's worth a read. It's 4 pages long. He wants to do a delegation. We'll see if Fritz von Cario, Jon Fuhrer, will let Jody speak to this one. Last time they turned him down, he wanted to do a delegation. He's asking for 2 delegations at this council meeting. This is one of them about the Niagara Parks and other opportunities for Niagara Falls. To make this very simple, I went through all this stuff. It's very good, but to make it simple for me, listen, just up it from 37 cents to $1 a car. That's 3.5 million. We pocket another couple $1 million, which we could use to take care of infrastructure on roads that are heavily trafficked because of the tourist industry. It would go right to that thing, to that infrastructure and that kind of thing. But it might even be $2 or $3 a car. Whatever. I think they should be paying more since all those tourists have to use our city streets to get to the Parks Commission. Whew, that's going to be a tough one, though. It's been happening for so long. I don't know. I don't know if council has the balls to be able to go up and ask for more. But hey, you don't get anything unless you ask, right? Okay, so if we get more, it's less the taxpayers have to deal with. And Jody's comments are great. And once again, he mentions section 326, tourist course special service levies. And there's a provision in section 326 about property taxes and levies and that kind of thing. And you can charge a different mill rate to tourist industries or certain segments of industry because they tend to use more services than normal, and their use should not be spread amongst regular taxpayers because we don't use the services, whether they be the roads or anything else. So at the end of the day, the thing is that what you want to do is make sure it's fair and make sure Niagara Falls taxpayers recover monies that they should be getting to take the burden off of them. Read it. Read Jody's 4 pages, section 326. I talked about it before. We'll see if they let them talk about it. Another item, 9.2, EV charging stations, expenditure budgeted $4 million. And I said they should cut this in half. I mean, EVs are going the way of the dodo right now. These plants have all shut down because people don't want them. We don't have a need for that. And right now, Expected revenue is 176,000. I'm thinking it'll be half of that. So basically, we're in the hole right from the get go. $1 million and another 500,000 from the Parks Commission partnership, and taxpayers are actually paying people to park their EVs because we're not charging them enough. And to charge them a fair rate would be impossible because there's just not that many of them. So we shouldn't be subsidizing people who drive EVs. And I don't care if it's a $5,000 rebate for a guy who buys a $100,000 car, like he needs a $5,000 rebate. It doesn't matter. We shouldn't be doing anything with EVs at this point. Item 11.1, and that includes putting up charging stations that aren't going to make any money, that are going to cost taxpayers money. We're helping subsidize people who have EVs charge their cars. Okay, item 11.1, neighborhood watch. Great idea. We kind of have that in our neighborhood now. We do communicate through social media. If there's something weird going on, you've seen me post pictures of guys coming up the driveway here, shaking the door handles. Saw me post videos. We have a lot of people in the neighborhood with that. And they do post. So we've kind of got our own little ad hoc neighborhood watch. Everybody's kind of talks to each other. But the police want to bring back in the 80s. And in the 80s, we had an organized neighborhood watch in our neighborhood where there was kind of like a little board, people who kind of started it. And we had meetings once every month or so, talking about weird things going on in the neighborhood and, watching each other's house. It was pretty cool. Even stickers the police gave us to put on our windows and stuff, showing that there is a neighborhood watch and all our neighbors are all watching out for each other. I mean, I do that anyway. If I know one of my neighbors is gone, I watch their house and any weird cars. We live in a neighborhood where the cars are mostly people who live in the neighborhood. You see weird ones and you get suspicious right away. Keep an eye on them. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. We'll see what comes out of that. I think they should encourage that again, the police. If it can help them solve cases or just make crooks aware that, hey, we're watching you, it's all good. And they even had signs put up, neighborhood watch area. So that was pretty cool. 11.2, the books from the tangled web of Niagara Peninsula Energy, Niagara Falls Holding Company, Holdco, the NRBB sale in City Hall. A tangled spider web of information that goes back and forth, and it's very, very hard for anyone to untangle it. The books are from 2023 and 24. Gives us some insight into where the money is spent and what revenue we have coming in, and how much the city received from the Niagara Regional Broadband sale. And it was a cash plus a note that is going to come due at the end of 2026. And if I have this wrong, please correct me. It's very, very confusing. Where did the money go? Well, I saw 22 million in the, I believe, 2025 ledger, if I remember right. So there's another 15 million out there. All taxpayers' money since the taxpayers invested in Niagara Regional Broadband and should reap the benefits. That's right. When we say the city owns it, that means we own it. And we should reap the benefits. I haven't seen any yet. I saw 22 million come in. I don't know where it all went. So Niagara Regional Broadband was owned by the city of Niagara Falls and the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake in a 75-25% deal. Niagara-on-the-Lake received about 13 million from what I could see from these ledgers, these audits. And that's how I kind of made sense of all the numbers that are coming out. So I think the sale price was put at $50 million. And if you do the math, it kind of works out to the numbers that we're seeing. And that's about all the comments I have on it. Maybe we'll see city councilors ask some questions and comment on it when it comes on at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And when we talk about money for the city, we always talk about money, right? Where are we going to get the money? Where are we get the money to fix the roads? Well, when I was a kid, I remember the city of Niagara Falls had bonds. That's right. The city issued bonds. And basically what they asked people to do was invest in the city of Niagara Falls. So you would buy a bond for $500, say, which was a lot of money in those days. So $500, and you would get a bond, and some of the bonds had coupons. So at the end of the year, whatever interest rate you got, you could go cash the coupon in and peel off your interest, or you could let the bond sit there for 5 years. It was a 5-year bond, and at the end, collect your $500 plus interest over those years, and it gave the city money to operate on, which was a really cool idea. It gave people the ability to invest in their city, and not just people from the city. You could buy them, but there's other factions, businesses, and things that bought these bonds. They're guaranteed by the city, which basically, is guaranteed by our tax dollars. But it gives us money to do infrastructure. So if you wanted to spend $7.5 million on roads like Jimmy's doing now, you would use that money and earmark it for one thing, maybe fixing roads. So when you give the city $500, you get interest on the money, which would usually be better than you would get sitting in a bank account, and then they can use that money to fix our roads, to make our roads better. And that's what we did when we were kids. I remember a lot of people owned bonds. So it was a pretty interesting concept. I know other cities and municipalities are using it. I looked it up, and they're using it. So I think it's a great idea. We might bring it back. Why not? I mean, everybody had them, and they thought it was great. They were getting better interest on their money than they could get in the bank. And it worked out really good for the city as well. Helped city get capital projects done. We want our roads fixed. It was a win all the way around. So you can issue, 2-3 million of them, whatever, and make sure that they're earmarked for infrastructure, roads, and stuff. You can earmark it for certain things, those bonds, and you get to pay them back over the next 5 years or 10 years, whatever they were issued as. And people in Niagara Falls could actually make a better return on their money than letting it sit in the bank. It's a win-win all around. I love it. I mean, would you invest in Niagara Falls? I mean, I think I would. I'd buy a bond. Maybe we should call them Jimmy Bonds. Yeah, Jimmy Bonds, and let the mayor peddle them. He's a really good marketer. He likes to get out there and sell stuff, sell Niagara Falls. Well, how about that? You can peddle Jimmy Bonds. Yeah, how about Jimmy Bonds? And I think might be a great idea. I don't know how it works. I don't know what the regulations are. I don't know anything about them. I just remember that we had them as kids. Our parents had them. And I think it might be a great idea. What's old is new, and maybe a council person will bring it up. We'll bring it up at the meeting, and there's some point in the future. I don't know. Call him Jimmy Bonds. Get Jimmy involved. He's the great marketer of everything Niagara. Why not? Why not? Do you think it's a good idea? Leave a comment in the comments section on the video. Okay, I'm going to get to my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, as we mosey through the topics today. And the one thing I like, and you know what? I said yesterday, I'm gonna make a dough. I'm gonna make a dough today. I'm gonna make a dough. I promise you, I'm gonna make a dough. I'll show it to you if you want tomorrow or Thursday. Tomorrow's absolutely. But I'm gonna make a dough, and I'm gonna make a dough. I want to make a dough. I'm dying to make a dough. I'm gonna make it today. I'm gonna get my hands right in there and knead it. But I'm telling you, the dough is so important. A good dough. And the sauce. The dough and the sauce are the two main ingredients of a pizza. Now, if you have that right, and Pete's Pizza has it right because they use the Mancini family recipe that's been around for 41 years now. If you get that right, you put the cheese on the pizza in the right ratio to the sauce, and you can duplicate that. What you have is consistency, and that's what makes a good pizza. If your frame is good, the rest just makes it that much better. So you start adding fresh toppings, and you got yourself a winner. And Pete's Pizza does that right. Now, you think they make a great pizza, and they do. But they make great everything. Poutine, steak and cheese poutine, chicken parm sandwiches, panzerotti, you name it. They have a full menu. And where are they? Right over here on Victoria Avenue. And you know what? They didn't want people to have to come all the way from Stamford Center out the northwest part of the city. to get a great pizza on Victoria Avenue. So what they do? They opened a new location, Thoroldstone and Kaler, for everybody out that way. If you don't think it's good, take it from my buddy Tony Nero, a pizza expert who says it's as good as the Victoria Avenue store. That's all you need is that testimonial. And I'm telling you, you got yourself a great pizza. You know you want a pizza. What's wrong with Tuesday? Taco Tuesday? What's wrong with Pizza Tuesday? Go down and get a pizza. Dial 905 374 2222. That's right, 905 374 2222. Order yourself a good pizza. They use Dime, they use Skip, they'll deliver it themselves. They don't care. But number one, you're going to get a good pizza. Not only the first time you order, the second, third, fourth, fifth. That's the way they do it. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue and now at Thoroldstone and Kaler Road. Order yours today. Support our sponsors. They're great small businesses. They take care of the city of Niagara Falls and the people, the good corporate citizens. Okay, let's jump over to Super Boar Sunday, and the shenanigans. And a lot of the people in the USA spoke out loud and clear, like 6.1 million of them. They're sick and tired of the TDS infected left wing goofballs that run the NFL. Goodell is his name, I believe. And they've taken over entire states, these whack jobs. And now they took over the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Almost. Now, Turning Point USA, the Charlie Kirk organization, said, hey, we're not going to put up with this TDS, this woke left agenda that they're trying to force on people. We're going to run our own Super Bowl halftime with American patriots like Kid Rock and others. And we're going to run a halftime show that's worth watching, that's American, that's patriotic, that believes in Christianity and God. And they did. And they honored the Patriots, they honored America, and they honored God. They tuned out the all Spanish Super Bowl halftime. That's right, all done in Spanish. Nobody could understand it. Whatever the hell this guy was saying, Nasty Rabbit or whatever his name is. And yeah, it was ridiculous. And even people there were booing, and a lot of them went out to the concourse, flipped open their phones, and watched the TDS Turning Point USA show while that show was going on. It was a message sent to the NFL. Millions of viewers left the halftime show to tune into the Turning Point USA show. They hijacked the Super Bowl crowd that was fed up with all this DEI and everything else that is being forced on them. And the NFL realized their mistake. And they even told this Super Bunny or whatever, his Nasty Rabbit, that's what Trump calls him, that's what I remember, to tone down his act. But you cannot disrespect your audience. You cannot deliver a halftime show in another language. Who are they trying to appeal to? And that's it. The NFL misread their audience. That's what they did. And just a few short years ago, most networks would cancel anything during the Super Bowl. They couldn't compete. So when the Super Bowl was on, most channels ran a rerun of The Sound of Music or something. They couldn't compete. It didn't matter what they put on. But that's been broken now. They thought they had America in their grip. Wrong. American patriots, God and country have returned with President Trump. Woke and go broke carries even more meaning. The NFL, FAFO, they effed around and found out. Did they learn their lesson? Probably not. And it's sad because there's been some tremendous Super Bowl halftime shows. Well, the ones that stand out were Michael Jackson, Prince, and Aerosmith, and some of these other bands that were there. Just fantastic. They blew this one. Yep, I don't watch the game. I don't watch the show. But for your information, I did go to the video and I watched it. And, it was all in Spanish. Couldn't understand a word. And it looked like that the NFL told Nasty Rabbit not to wear his dress. A lot of crotch grabbing, and he was wearing gloves for some reason. I don't know. All dressed in white. Well, Latinos, women, all kinds of Latino women were twerking around him. It wasn't my bag, but I wasn't offended by any of it. No, I wasn't offended. To be honest, it was like being at a Latino wedding. That's what it reminded me of, a big Latino wedding with all the music and everything. I've been to a Latino wedding before. I think that the show would have been better at a bullfight or somewhere in Rio de Janeiro or something, a bullfight or a soccer match in South America. And it definitely appealed to the Latino Super Bowl viewers. And it was really a political statement about Puerto Rico and this and that. I mean, it's hard to understand exactly what he was talking about. Somebody said that. But also, somebody said this, and I quote, "This is one of the most disrespectful displays that I've ever seen at the Super Bowl. What are we even doing as a country anymore?" And that summed up a lot of the comments, to be honest with you. Now, the Turning Point USA show was great. And it was a really, there's something symbolic that went down. Kid Rock came out as Kid Rock doing his shtick, and all everything else that he used to do. And then he came out with an acoustic guitar under the name of Robert Ritchie, which is his real name, and he sang a song um, that had nothing in resemblance to the Kid Rock shtick. He lip synced it, and it represented a transformation to Kid Rock, a transformation from the hard living bad boy with questionable lyrics in his songs to Robert Ritchie, the guy that found God and appreciates every moment of his life until he can't. And that was the song, Until You Can't. And that was his message. I'll give you some of the lyrics here. "There's a book sitting in your house somewhere that could use some dusting off. There's a man that died for all of our sins hanging from a cross. You can give your life to Jesus. He'll give you a second chance till you can't." And every lyric to this song was like that. It was about loving people until you can't because you die, right? So that's what he's talking about. Get things done today while you can. Because if you procrastinate and keep putting the things off you should be doing, family, home, country, God, there'll be a time when you can't do it. Do it while you can. That was his message. Great tribute to Charlie Kirk, his beliefs, Turning Point USA in America. And it was really neat to see it. Him come out like as Robert Ritchie doing that. So yeah, it was a neat thing. Like I say, I tuned into the Super Bowl halftime. I wasn't offended by it. I wasn't offended. I don't mind Latino music. I don't know if that was the right time and place for it. We'll find out by the ratings. But according to what I'm seeing, it might not have been the place for that. But I wasn't offended by it. So if I was watching the Super Bowl, people were saying they were offended and all that by it. Well, I didn't get that feeling. Okay, so let's go over to a big story that's been brewing for the last week. Nancy Guthrie, still missing. There was a deadline at 5 o'clock yesterday where the ransom had to be paid. And, this whole story, to me, nothing about it adds up. The police, the family, the whole scenario of an 84-year-old woman with health problems being snatched out of her house early in the morning, whoever it was spending 45 minutes in the house kidnapping her. It's all strange. It's all really strange. And how can anybody ask for money without proof of life? These kidnappers, alleged kidnappers, were asking for $6 million, but they provided no proof that she's even alive. So what is this? How can this be? It doesn't make sense. No two-way communications. The kidnappers were negotiating a ransom through TMZ. Not even through the family and local radio or local TV stations in the Tucson area. And yet, when you look at the timeline, they set up a timeline, but it all depends on one or two things. And none of them make sense. Because on a kidnapping, and I've never kidnapped anybody, so I'm just saying my thought about it is if I was going to kidnap somebody, I would want to get that person, get them, get my money, and get the hell out of Dodge, right? Set them free, exchange the money, and get out of there. I wouldn't want to be hanging around for a week. The longer this thing drags out for me, the better. So you communicate directly with the family, who usually will communicate with police, and you get it settled. Here, I want this much money, give it to me, and we'll let her go. Here's proof she's alive, whether it be information that only she would know about the family, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just proof that she's still alive. Get it to the family, they give you the money, you let her go, and that's it. Because once this lady is gone, then all ransom is off. If you're going to kidnap somebody, you're kidnapping them for one reason: money. 9 times out of 10, it's money. And once your leverage is gone, died, unalived, if you want, whatever you want to call it, then you have no more negotiating power. So why aren't they giving over proof of her that she's alive? And they took 3 days to send a ransom note. Unheard of. Unheard of. And 45 minutes in the house, getting her out of there? It's just. So my question is, when I look at the timeline, is this even a kidnapping? No proof of life. No ransom paid now. 2 deadlines gone. So what is it? If it isn't a kidnapping, what exactly is it? A robbery gone bad? Blood on the front porch, a struggle? Is the ransom demand, the person making the ransom demand, just an opportunist who saw an opportunity to scam money from the family, even though he has nothing to do or she has nothing to do with the kidnapping, alleged kidnapping? And a guy from California got arrested for just that. So this is really weird. And to me, it looks like an inside job. It looks like an inside job. Somebody knew something. Her daughter's worth $40 million net worth. She makes over $8 million a year. Somebody knew something that was close to them. The whole thing stinks. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And for kidnappers not to be willing to show proof of life, but asking for $6 million, that's a reach. I mean, that's just not the way it happens. And the update after the 5 p.m. deadline was not paid. Now we see what happens when there's been a strange twist in the story. Think about this, and we go back to the timeline. Who said that Nancy Guthrie got home at 9:37 or something? Who says she even got home? Well, the only reason they think she got home is a garage door opening at a certain time. But there's no cameras, so who knows who opened that garage door? Was it Nancy Guthrie being dropped off like her daughter and son-in-law said? Or was it someone else? You don't know. There's no cameras. She took an Uber to her daughter and son-in-law's house, yet they drove her home. Why wouldn't they pick her up? Why did she take an Uber to go there and get a ride home from the son and daughter? Why wouldn't she take an Uber home? They wouldn't go get her. Why would they take her home? Who says they even took her home? The only ones that are saying that are the daughter and son-in-law. And with no cameras to prove who went in through that garage door, who knows who it was? Could have been anyone. So there's a scenario where she never arrived home at all. And the scenario would be at 2:38 in the morning, or whenever they say she was kidnapped and her Apple Watch stopped communicating with her pacemaker. Why couldn't that Apple Watch have been taken off her at that time of the morning? Right? She had her watch with her. As soon as you did take her watch and get it away from her pacemaker, there's no signal. It could have been done at any time. It happened at that time of the morning. So this timeline really could be a red herring. And there's a lot of suspicion now being put on the daughter and son-in-law about this. And the cops have been to her daughter's house and son-in-law 3 times now and taken stuff out. And with no proof that she even made it home. And the FBI saying that chances are slim that she's alive now. And it's only because they have many, many kidnapping cases. And after a week, if they haven't provided proof of life, then that 100% of the time means that she's not alive. So this is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I think it's an inside job. I think it points to the son-in-law and the daughter. There's something fishy with that whole timeline, especially with them saying they brought her home, but there's no other proof they did bring her home. So you got to keep an eye on this. Stay tuned to this one. I'll be talking about it more, but this is the most bizarre case that I've ever seen in my life, and not one bit of it makes sense. Motives don't make sense. Nothing makes sense. Okay, over to the Olympics. I haven't been watching. I don't watch the Olympics other than I saw that Lindsey Vonn crash. What's a 41-year-old woman doing in the Olympics? She screwed herself up big time. She was already screwed up bad. She had a titanium knee in that, and this time she broke her legs or something. I don't know. But she took a horrific crash. But what was more horrific than that crash was the Canadians' outfits. Did you see these sleeping bag looking disaster? I mean, you talk about embarrassing. What the hell was that? It looked like a sleeping bag thrown over the shoulders of a homeless person. I mean, the color looked to be like a dirty brown or something, not the usual sharp, sharp, red and white, sharp uniforms with Canada on them. I mean, I don't get it. What designer designed these and who okayed it? Is brown the new red in this country? What a disgraziata. The disgraziata, terrible, and Canada's got to be embarrassed about that. Okay, while we're at the Olympics, I got to watch the hockey game. I think hockey starts this week, doesn't it? Yeah, sometime I'm going to watch. I might watch some of the hockey. I'm not a big Olympic guy. As a matter of fact, I wish none of the Montreal Canadiens were in the Olympics. I think Suzuki's one of the guys there, and Slavkovsky for the Czechia or something. I wish they weren't playing. There's too much of a chance of them getting hurt and screwing up our season. I mean, it's happened before. It means nothing. Why don't they just let the amateurs go over there and play their hearts out for Canada like they used to back when I was a kid? Father Bauer and the Canadian team went over there and won all these Olympics and everything else, all amateurs. Then they let the pros in, and now it screws up everything. Okay, we're out of the Olympics now. Now we're going to go to Cuba, and it's getting bad there. I mean, the people there can't hold out much longer. They're getting hammered. Trump sent 6 million more of aid, but the embargo on fuel is really starting to kill them. Air Canada has cut off all their flights to Cuba because of fuel shortages. Yeah, the planes can get there, the smaller planes, but they don't have enough fuel to get back. The bigger planes can carry enough fuel for both trips each way. They don't have to refuel. The smaller ones can't, so they're going to have to go there and have enough to get to the United States again, maybe Florida or somewhere there, and fuel up again. But Air Canada said, we're not going to take the chance of running out of fuel. We're not even going anymore. No fuel for planes. The number one industry, tourism, has taken a big hit as government agencies warn their people to basically stay away from Cuba. They're running out of food, water, power, basic necessities of life, and hotels are closing down as supplies run out. So they're starting to close down hotels that aren't full and migrating people to hotels that have room so they can use less resources to take care of everybody. There's no use opening a hotel with 20 people with 30 people there running a big hotel. They're just shutting them down. And in Cuba, if a hotel wants to sell and there's no big person like Iberostar or Barcello who want to take it over, the government takes it over. Like the one I go to, Hotel Mojito, was I think it was a Barcelo, and once they sold it, Spanish company, I believe, the government just took it over and called it Hotel Mojito. Well, they just closed it down, so they're done. And most of the tourists are being shuffled around to different hotels because the hotels they booked for were shut down completely. In Havana, blackouts become a regular occurrence. Garbage is piling up on the streets as fuel becomes scarce. No fuel to run the garbage truck. It's a big mess there now, almost like New York City with Mam Dandy. Tourists are not going to Cuba. They're afraid to go, canceling flights, choosing other destinations. And I know people are there right now, and you hear reports from them that there's still, there's food, they're having a good time and everything else. And that could be, but in the same vein as everything's okay today, in another couple of weeks, it could be a disaster. So if you got a trip planned to Cuba, you may want to give it a second thought or get ready to maybe rough it a little bit. And it's a big shame. I mean, 90 miles away from Cuba is a country that's full of everything. I mean, they have everything the Cuban people ever need for life. All they have to do is have regime change and a regime that'll work with America to make Cuba great again. And the Cuban people deserve this. I mean, they've been under 65 rules since the New Year's Revolution in 1959, the New Year's Eve Revolution. They've been under the gun, and they've had a crappy life under communism. And the people there are the salt of the earth. No matter what the trials and tribulations they face are, they always have a great attitude, and they're willing to help you out. They're just really, really nice people. For my times there, I've come in contact with a lot of them, and they're just great people. So I hate to see them suffer at all. So I'm hoping the situation gets cured and fast. It's caught in a vicious circle right now, Cuba. People aren't going because of the situation, but when people don't go, there's no money. And when there's no money, the people suffer. But you can't expect people to go if there's no amenities there for them. It's just a circle that goes around and around. It isn't going to stop. I mean, if you go, you're going to be safe probably. But if you need certain things, they may not be able to deliver it, whether it's rides to and from the resort to the airport, whether it's medical equipment, medical things you need, medicine, whether it's food, run out of food, whatever. And I've been there when they ran out of wheat flour to make bread, and they'd have to bring out frozen breadsticks. And they make some of the best bread I've ever had at the resort that we go to. But they ran out at the end of the month, and they had to wait till the next allotment the next month. That's how it works. Now, normally hotels get stuff first because the tourist industry is so big in Cuba. They want to make sure the hotels are taken care of. But if there's nothing, there's nothing. That's the only thing. That's the only problem. If there's no fuel to run the generators, there's no electricity. There's no electricity. There's no food. You can't store food. It's fresh. It's got to come in fresh, but there's no fuel for it to come into the hotel. It's crazy. It's crazy. So your expectations, they have to align with the ability for them to get resources. The beaches are beautiful. The people are beautiful. The beautiful weather, not affected by shortages. They're there for you. If you want to go, you just have to make your expectations. And Cuba right now meet what they're able to deliver. And that's about it. And that is it for me today. I'm done. I'll be back on Thursday with Your City, Your Voice, talking more about City Council at 4 o'clock today. City council meeting is on. I will be watching it like a hawk come 4 or 5 o'clock, between 4 and 5 at niagarafalls.ca, on YouTube Live, or sometimes on the Cogeco Community Channel. They do carry it on the odd occasion. I usually watch it on YouTube myself. You can go there and watch it live. The agenda's up, so you can actually follow along with the agenda. I've given you some things that they're going to talk about. You can check them out while you're watching the show. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what City Council comes up with. I'll let you know on Thursday how they decided on a lot of this stuff. I'll give you my views on it. We'll see if Jody Burdett gets to speak or Fritz von Cario. The Prussian general, I can just see him with a hat on with a big point on the top, in the uniform. That's how he acts towards Jody Burdett. And the rest of the council goes, Yabo! Yabo, Commandant. Yes, we will ban Jody. You will not speak. And on that note, I'm out of here. Thank you very much. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from the studios of Video Sign Incorporated, usually coming from the studios of 4680q.com. Tune in. There's a lot of good talk shows on 4680q.com every day. Thank you so much for joining the show. Please support our sponsors. Your Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and now on Thoroldstone at Kaler. Thank you so much for supporting our sponsors. God bless you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Leave your comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say, and I do talk about them on my show all the time. See you later. Have a good day.